Hello, welcome back. Don't worry, I've got rid of them for now. This is the Daily Rundown with me, Martin Cooper, and I'm joined with comedy duo Jack and Zach, the Sketchmen. So, welcome onto the sofa. Welcome to That's Manchester. And you need to remind me who... No, don't tell me. You're Zach.
Nicely done.
And I know that because you remind me of my old border collie.
You know what, I get told that a lot.
It's the facial hair.
Yeah.
Which means that you're Jack.
I'm the other one.
You're the other one. And welcome in. Now, you are funny people.
I mean, that's what the website says. But you know, you can.
Sort of the way I'm printed on the cards, and you're doing funny things in funny places. So, tell us a little bit about the kind of work that you're doing at the moment. So you're a kind of travelling theatre sketch show at the moment. Yeah,
kind of nomadic, you could say, maybe. We just finished our run at the Manchester Fringe yesterday, so we did 4 days at 3 different venues there, which was fantastic. We can't say enough how much of a fantastic time we had. Everybody involved was just brilliant. We had a really good time. And then we've got the show again in 2 weeks in London. And then we go up to Edinburgh, don't we? A month after.
So they're really kind of disparate places, like London, Manchester, Edinburgh. Huge geographical difference. What's the difference in audiences at these places? Do you find there's quite a difference?
In terms of Edinburgh, I think for us anyway, we take each day at a time in terms of our audience.
Because they're quite a specified audience, aren't they? They're there to almost going make me laugh.
Yeah, everyone's there for the exact same reason, to just try and get as much crammed into a shorter time as possible.
And do they get tired? Do they get laughed out?
It's strange because it makes it easier and harder at the same time, because obviously, like Jack said, everybody's there, and everybody who is there is wanting to go and see things. But there's also another 3,000 shows to compete with. So people are a lot readier to listen to you when you're trying to get them to come, but they've also spoken to 20 other people that day who have tried to tell them that their show is the best thing to watch also. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, I suppose.
And how about the Southerners? That was a telly laugh, wasn't it?
No, it's obviously it's a little different because we're based up north, and you know we have a northern voice, and so there are a couple of little differences, and we know less people down there.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, when we have done stuff, it's gone down really well, and it's because we're incredibly pessimistic people, so we always panic and we go, oh, no one's gonna laugh, no one's gonna come, no one will care. And we turn up and do a gig and people are there and they're laughing and they're loving it and enjoying it. We have a boss time, and I can't see it being any different, in all honesty.
There's few things better, isn't there, than getting a good reaction from an audience in a comedy situation. It's a very hard thing to do, to make somebody involuntarily make a noise. It's a hard thing to do.
Well, we're always standing on people's feet, so we're
hit with a hammer. Talk about Manchester Fringe a little bit more, for people that don't know what Manchester Fringe is. Perhaps you can fill us in a little bit first of all.
Well, it's an arts festival, I suppose. There's all different venues in Manchester that kind of sign up to be part of the Fringe Festival, and loads of these different places become venues, some which are already venues, some which are already theatres, and some which aren't. Some are bars and other such places. And I think, off the top of my head, I think it's 128 shows this year, or 108.
Something round that.
Yeah. Over 100 anyway. And there's a real nice community feel about it, and there's a big launch party at the King's Arms, where everyone gets to meet each other, and it's just really lovely. Everybody really works for everyone.
So what's the importance of having something like a Fringe Festival in a city like Manchester?
I'd say it's incredibly important to that the Greater Manchester Fringe exists, because the Edinburgh Fringe, it's super and it's a hectic month, but it's such an industry, it's such a machine, and it doesn't really have a face anymore. Whereas the Greater Manchester Fringe, I feel like it's run by people, it's run by real people, and you put on a show and you get proper support.
Yeah, and it's a real tight community.
Did you find that there were acts there from all around the country as well, like you get at Edinburgh, or were they very Manchester-centric acts?
No, there definitely were. There were people who were based down south. There were people who were based, further north than us. I'm sure there's some people from there's the Scottish Falsetto Sock Puppet Theatre Company. Can't believe I got that all right.
They sound fab.
They're very funny. But yeah, there was people from all over. There's an American comedian, I think, who's...
We interviewed a couple of other shows as part of a sort of cross promotion, and someone came to do the interview in Manchester from Sheffield, and we just couldn't believe it. We were like, oh my god, you got on the train just to come here. And so they really care about the shows, that doing them here, and the Greater Manchester really, the Fringe, they really care about having people from all over the place to do the shows.
And you guys have been record breaking, I believe.
We've been trying to.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on tender hooks to get the validation
The official
officially through.
word.
But yeah, we tried to set a world record just about 2 weeks ago now for the most comedy gigs done in a single day. 16 gigs, 16 different venues, and we ran to all the different venues with our props and our costume, and
It's quite an undertaking, though. Just the organisation behind something like that is mind-boggling, isn't it?
It was, yeah, leading up to it, the planning was almost as challenging as the actual day itself. It wasn't as challenging, but it was almost as. But
it was like a military operation.
Yeah, you try coordinating 16 different venues on one of the busiest days, on Manchester Day it turned out to be.
The last day of the Stone Roses gig also.
Yeah, well done.
And Father's Day. So yeah, we picked a good day for it.
But did you enjoy it?
Yeah, we had such a good time. There was some venues where it was, I'll be honest, it felt like it was an uphill struggle, and because we're running around, we're doing so many shows, and some of the venues were probably more suited to having a comedy show performed in than the others.
Although you say that, and some of our best gigs were in places where we really didn't expect them to be. Like we did a tiny restaurant where we were really worried, and they were fantastic. We had an audience who was sat there, they were listening to us, they were clapping after the sketches.
And then people came to see the show after
off the back of that.
From having a meal in Home Sweet Home and watching us do our stupid little thing.
But it was definitely worthwhile. Yeah, they really did.
So how did you two come together to be working together? How did you meet?
We met at drama school. We trained together as actors at the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts. We started there in 2011, and we worked a little bit here and there, and then we set up our own company in our third year. I directed a show that Jax was in, and then we wrote our first sketch comedy show and took it to the Edinburgh Fringe.
And how does your writing process work? Because it's with one person, you're your own boss. When it's two, you've got to kind of have a meeting of minds somewhat, surely.
I think it's probably quite telling why we write together. When we just talk to each other, there'll be times when we'll see something or just observe something, and we'll both make the same joke at the same time. And I think it's although we are really critical at each other's work when we're putting it together. It's quite comforting to know that we're both sort of on the same page in terms of what we actually sort of want to do in terms of the material that we put together.
From a directorial point of view, what happens when you come across something and you know in your head it's going to work a certain way, but they know in their head it's going to work a different way? What do you call on external directors to advise? Or?
We did have an external director this time around, a friend of ours who we trained with as well at Lipper, who's an actor also, but he directs and he writes, and we had him in to direct our latest show, Attempted Jokes, and it was very worthwhile. I felt, because we've all known each other for a while. We train together, so that's one of the things that helps us write, is we can be brutally honest with each other. We don't have to dilly-dally around with sugar in the pill and whatnot. And yeah, he was fantastic. He's got a real good eye for comedy.
But do you ever find it hard to kind of relinquish some of that creative control to a director?
It can be a difficult one, and I'd say it's all about trust, really. It's all about trusting each other and picking your battles in some senses, because if you come in and you go, I don't like that, I don't like this, I don't like that, you're not going to get anywhere. It's all about negotiation.
And knowing they're there to do a job, I guess.
Yeah, and everyone's there to do the best job. We don't choose to do this because it's an easy thing to do. We choose to do it because we want to do it and we enjoy doing it.
So what's the future then for the Sketchmen? Where do we go from here? What's the dream?
Well, we have some performances coming up, like we said, London and Edinburgh. That's the short term, and then we want to film some stuff later this year. But the dream, personally speaking, I don't know if I can speak for the two of us, but we'd love to have our own show. We really would. We'd like to write our own show and star in it and have it out there for people to watch.
So and this is always really difficult to do, and I appreciate it's a tricky question, but who do we align ourselves with? Who are your influences in comedy, I guess, is the best way of phrasing it?
Probably the top one is the League of Gentlemen.
Yeah, we're both massive fans of the League of Gentlemen.
There's a darkness there.
There is,
yeah.
And I'd probably say that's why we consider that to be one of our main influences, because a lot of our sketches do have that kind of darker edge. But then we also say the Fast Show as well, don't we?
Yeah, in terms of the pace and the way that we put our shows together, the Fast Show is, even though it's purely it's a television sketch show. It very much sort of influenced, probably because we watched it growing up. We watched it as kids, and so that sort of embedded.
It was so defining of the 90s as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Such sad news this week about Caroline Aherne passing away.
yeah.
It was such an integral part of that show.
Yeah, absolutely awful news. Really, really, really sad.
So, kind of, when you were growing up, what were your parents into, and what were they watching comedy-wise? Because I always think about what my dad used to watch. He used to be a fan of things like Tommy Cooper and things, and now I watch the stuff that he was watching and think, actually, this is sparkling, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, my mum is a massive fan of The League of Gentlemen. That's why I ended up watching it. But she also likes a lot of the old classics like Les Dawson, Kenny Everett.
It's fantastic.
Lots of silly things, but they're also, when you look at them, because Les Dawson, he looks like an idiot. That's his act.
Silliness is hard to do, isn't it?
Exactly, that's his
I pull it off
skill.
really well, but it is. Silliness is very hard to do. To have an idea of something that's quite maniacal and quite strange and quite dark and quite out there, and to execute it so cleanly and so well, like things like the Mighty Boosh, or like you said, League of Gentlemen, Reeves and Mortimer, all these kind of acts. They did it so well, and you just think that could so easily be naff. And it wasn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is it. I think it's quite telling that all of our influences, or the majority of our influences, are sort of acts from the 90s, like you say, Vic and Bob, and the Fast Show, League of Gentlemen. Myself, things like Bottom and Red Dwarf. It's things that we watched growing up, and that, although there's lots of great comedy out there right now, and we enjoy watching loads of contemporary comedy. We enjoy watching some contemporary comedy. The majority of stuff that I sort of hold dear to me is the stuff I watched as a kid, because it's sort of woven throughout.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. I could literally sit here and talk about comedy all day today. It's just one of my passionate subjects, and I think it's so hard to do right, and I'm so glad that you guys are doing it. If people want to check you out, we've got website links or anything like that at the moment. Or they want to come and see your shows, how do we do that?
You're probably best off following us on social media. So on Facebook, it's The Sketchmen.
Cool.
Yeah,
so you can search that?
Just search The Sketchmen or facebook.com.
Do you tweet?
The Sketchmen. We do. We have a Twitter.
They're there. The Sketchmen. Look for them, social media. And we're going to be back in about 3 minutes looking at some more of our silly stories from today. Don't go too far.